Right.
So to say, why aren't they here? The universe is a big place. And it's not so easy to travel over large distances if you're constrained by the barrier of the speed of light.
So what's our furthest impact on the universe? Just bad television from 70 years ago? Is that?
Yeah. So if you take, well, I guess TV, radio signals. Go back to say the 1900s. So maybe generously 150 light years if you allow any transmission that we sent out there. So 150 light years compared to 92 billion light years, right? That's not much.
Although the intuition is that if you look at the fact that we have gone from barely walking upright to sending out our own space probes in a very short period of time, so 300 years of practical science, really.
Yeah.
And if you think of any, so I guess the one assumption you need is that there's nothing really special about Earth. And more it seems that the sense, even 10 years ago, Earth seemed more special than it does now. Now we're finding planets every day that are seemingly in some kind of Goldilocks zone with respect to their star. And so if you don't think the conditions on Earth are so special, that they're really a dime a dozen out there in the galaxy and in other galaxies, and then you think we're talking about a time window of any place where life gets going and it gets complex is very likely it could be millions of years on either side of us. Anything that's complex that could build a civilization, is not going to. That is very unlikely to have happened in the last 300 years. They might as well have 300 years plus 10 million years to have gotten that going, right? So then you would expect just the galaxy to be awash in something that we could detect, right? That has been going on for millions of years. I guess the one additional wrinkle that we haven't mentioned is that there could just be something about building a complex civilization, building technology that is lethal to species like ourselves.
Absolutely, it could be that
we're showing every sign of it being dangerous.
Right, exactly. It could be that once you get to the point where you're able to undertake these kind of grand space journeys, you're in a very dangerous situation, and typically you don't survive. There are more optimistic ways of explaining it, though, too. So maybe the universe is teeming with all this activity. It's just not in the wavelengths that we're looking. We're just not sensitive to it, right? Maybe the time scales over which the vibrations of whatever medium that they're using are incredibly long or incredibly short. So we just hear it as like noise in the background and don't recognize that there's a signal, or we don't even have any sensitivity to it at all.
Right.
So I think
their bad television is coming at a different frequency?
It could well be. Right, so I don't consider it a paradox. I think it's an interesting point of departure in trying to understand whether we're special, whether life is special, whether intelligence is special. But from your perspective, right? Let's say life is commonplace. The journey from life to intelligence is non-trivial. Do you think that is as straightforward as you might assume in order to come to the conclusion that there should be all sorts of intelligence out there?
Well, looking at Earth, you wouldn't draw that conclusion.
Why?
Even
Why do you say that? How many species are there on this planet?
Well, no, I'm saying, I think I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
okay.
that it's... the truth is, it's non-trivial even if you look at our own species.
Yes, that's the point. Good, yeah.
If you murdered the top, if you took, so how many people on Earth at this moment deeply understand the science required to build intelligent machines, right? So if they all caught a bad virus and died off, how long would it take just the people left to reinvent the computer, right? That's a non-trivial problem for most of us. If you leave me alone on a desert island with the necessary elements, you're not going to get an iPhone anytime soon. so that, I mean, in some sense, we're all living on the shoulders of, if not giants, on the shoulders of legacy institutions and ways of doing things that it would be very hard for anyone to recapitulate. I mean, even any group of especially talented, qualified people, you forget how to go, mine the ore that you need to make that circuit, right?
And that's even assuming the existence of us humans already. I mean, if you just get rid of that whole particular branch, then you don't even have anything heading in that direction.
Yeah. So it strikes me as incredibly tenuous and fragile, right? And by no means guaranteed to keep happening. Because again, the thing that's interesting is that it doesn't, what we're using to do everything that makes us human is not obviously better from a Darwinian perspective as a matter of survival. I mean, because again, in the long run, we could wind up killing ourselves. And there are many things that have persisted as themselves, as discrete species for tens of millions of years. You take something like a lobster, right? Now, lobsters are just doing their lobster thing year after year after year, and they seem to be fine unless we wind up eating too many of them or destroying their environment. There's something quite a bit more precarious about our place in the world, and so it's not even just as on purely Darwinian grounds. It's not like this surfeit of intelligence and abstract thought is clearly something that evolution is an attractor that evolution will keep finding because it's just so good for a matter of survival.
Right. No, I agree. And I think that's a very natural explanation, not the most optimistic of ones, but certainly is an explanation.